Om Gurave Namah. Namaskar. Today, a very interesting topic. It's very simple. When is your birthday? Uh, my birthday is on 21st November, right? But this year, this coming year, my birthday is not falling on 21st November, but on 13th December, right? Many of you would have faced this thing wherein your pandit is saying, go to the temple on this day because this year your birthday is coming on this particular day, and we're like, why is it not falling on the usual day? If I was born on 4th of July, why is it not falling on 4th of July, for example, every year? But we don't realize that we have been Western educated and brought up in this calendar known as the Gregorian calendar. We don't know that it's called, many of us don't even know that it's called Gregorian calendar. Gregorian is named, the name is after Pope Gregory, who devised this calendar in the medieval era, I think in the 15th or 16th century. Okay, before that they were using what is known as the Julian calendar, right? And then there were some corrections that Gregory put into that, and that's why it's called Gregorian calendar. Many of us don't even know it's called Gregorian. We just know, yeah, this is the only calendar. But believe it or not, maybe a couple of 100 years back, maybe even 150 years back, our ancestors, our great great grandfathers, etc., they wouldn't know what is January and February and March and April. They would reckon months in very different way. And many of us still know, we have something called a panchanga or an almanac. Different regions have different ways, but we have an almanac, and that gives, we have discussed in my last lecture where we talk of the panchanga, the weekday, the tithi, nakshatra, karana, etc. These are all mentioned. Okay, but we don't know how to really use it, and we don't even know how to use it to find a very simple thing like our birthday. Okay, so in the what I was talking about, maybe a couple of 100 years back, it was very simple. People would not even start the month on 1st of July or 2nd of July, or sorry, 1st of February or 1st of March, etc. It was started on the day sun moved from one sign to the other sign. What sign are we talking about? We are talking about the zodiacal sign, what we also call as Rashis. Okay, and it is very scientifically determined, right? The sun passes from one to the other on a certain day. 1st of January, 2nd of January, 1st of February, etc. are arbitrary days if you think about it. They don't have really any astronomical relevance as such. Okay, but these days do. Okay, these days do, because sun is actually moving from a particular sign to another sign. Okay, I'm a bit harsh. I'm not. It's not like they don't have relevance. Yes, sun is on a certain degree more or less on 1st of Jan or 2nd of Jan, but really that degree is not significant. What is really significant is when sun moves from one sign to another sign. That's a very significant movement. In between a sign, sun moves from one degree to another degree is not that important, right? And sun moving to one sign to another sign is a big deal because the Aditya is changing. We talk about Dvadasha Aditya, the 12 Adityas. Okay, the first, which is for Aries, is Adhata, then Aryama, right? And so on and so forth. We have 12 Adityas ending with Vishnu in Pisces. Okay, so this is important because Aditya is changing. When the Aditya is changing, the Rashi is changing, the entire nature approach, what the sun's approach is itself changes. That's why sun signs make a big difference. We don't, while we follow 1st of Jan and 1st of Feb, etc., for sun signs we do follow. A lot of people remember the tropical zodiac when sun moves around 21st or 22nd of a month from one sign to another sign. But that is changing. That is not, this 21st, 22nd is not constant. Soon it will be maybe 19th, or soon then it will be 18th, and so on and so forth. That's also a moving thing. We have a very scientific thing where we depend upon sidereal zodiac, when it is not largely changing. The movement of sun from one sign to another sign typically happens on a certain day, right? And this happens between, in a modern Gregorian calendar, between 13th to 17th of a month. Depending on various months, it moves here and there, but it is constant. Say for February, you know that every February it will say change on 15th February or so. Let's say, that's how it changes. So our month really starts on the first day of Sankramana or Sankranti, when the sun moves from one sign to another sign. In fact, in ancient days, people would give salaries or to their servants or employees if they have a business on the day of the Sankramana. That was considered as auspicious. Even today, a lot of people go to temples. A lot of tarpana, pitru tarpanas are done on the day of Sankramana. All this is not possible if we don't know the panchanga. Okay, so it's important to know the panchanga, and also important to know a very important date, which is your birth date. Yes, it's very important. It's not just a day to cut cakes and have a party. It's a day when you actually recharge your batteries for the entire next year. The day when sun is coming to that exact same point. Okay, but we'll come to that. It's not just the sun. We were not created just by our father. Sun is the father, right? We were created by our mother and father both. Who is the mother? Mother is the moon. If sun is father, moon is mother. So, how do we see from moon? No, we don't see from nakshatra, though a lot of people believe in that. Yes, and that is also important, significant in its own way, right? But really the creation is happening with the Tithi. Okay, Tithi is the difference between sun and moon. How much has moon gone ahead of the sun? And that defines the phases of the moon. From Amavasya to Pratipa, Dvitiya, Tritiya and so on, and again it goes back, then it goes to Purnima, and then again it comes back to Amavasya. That is the Tithi, right? So when sun comes to the same sign as it was during the time of our birth, like in the case of Mahatma Gandhi, he was born when sun was in the sign of Libra, and we are talking about sidereal zodiac. Okay, so I believe in Gandhi's case it would make not a difference if I mean it should be the same, or would it be Libra? I'm not sure. Yeah, so but anyhow, his sun was in the sidereal sign, zodiac sign of Virgo at the time of his birth. Okay, and the moon, the Tithi was of Krishna Ekadashi. Okay, because moon was in this sign at that time. Okay, but it is not the sign what is important. What is really important is the difference, the degree difference between sun and moon. That degree is what is the difference. So sun was say in 16 degree 55 minutes and moon was at 28 degree 5 minutes. The difference is about 2 degrees and 30 and around 17. So 32 and 17, around 49 degrees is the difference between sun and moon, where moon is behind the sun. Okay, this defines your birth. The definition of your birth: when sun comes to the same sign when you were born, and moon comes to that same Tithi, which is Krishna Ekadashi Tithi. And in fact, the exact degree over here in this software deva.guru, it also helpfully gives you the exact degree of the Tithi. That is, within the Tithi, when from the time of start of Krishna Ekadashi Tithi, Mahatma Gandhi was born when 6.87% of that Tithi only was left. Okay, so it was almost at the end of Krishna Ekadashi Tithi. Another 7% gone, and then you have the Krishna Dvadashi Tithi starting. Okay, so he was born at the very fag end of this. Okay, moon you can see is at the very end of the sign of Cancer. So it is very well possible that in some other birthdays of his, moon could be in Leo, because it's on very borderline case. And if you see the exact Krishna Ekadashi Tithi, it is very well possible that moon, the nakshatra of moon can change, because this is what is called Tithi Pravesha. This and I'll show you some of his Tithi Praveshas also. Okay, so for example, this was his birthday in 1892, as you can see here, the Gregorian date, he was born, a lot of us know, we get our birth, we get a good holiday and sometimes an extended weekdays because weekends because of this, which is 2nd October, right? Uh, but in the year 1892, his birthday, or his Tithi Pravesha to be specific, was on 17th of September. Okay, so you can see big difference over here. And then a lot of these things can change. The Vara can definitely change, Nakshatra can change, Karana, Yoga, all this can change. But what won't change is the Tithi, because this is Tithi Pravesha. This is the birthday. Okay, and not just it's just Krishna Ekadashi, it's exact percentage, same 6.87 percentage. I mean 6.876, that is fine, but it's very close to that same exact percentage. That is what we got to see. So in the year 1892, when Sun was in Libra, the Krishna Ekadashi Tithi, right, and exact percentage as it is birth, happened on 17th of September at 0:54 hours. That is in the night. Okay, even this timing and all can change. Though he was born at 7:26 in the morning, that doesn't matter. The exact Tithi Pravesha is this. Okay. Now, in such case, you may ask when exactly to do the puja. So here you've got to look at the Tithi specifically. When did Krishna Ekadashi Tithi start? Okay. So Krishna Ekadashi Tithi would have started most likely on the previous day itself, because such a small percentage of this Tithi is left. So the previous day would have been 16th of September. That is when you should do whatever, if pujas. We typically suggest on the Tithi Pravesha day, the recommended thing is to do Rudrabhisheka. Okay, because in Rudrabhisheka, all the Shivalinga, various things, various be it milk and curd and various things are offered to the Shivalinga with the chanting of mantras. Typically the Rudram and Chamakam and all these mantras are chanted during that, and that is called the Rudrabhisheka. Okay, and the Shivalinga has all the devatas in it. Okay, it subsumes all the devatas in it. So that way you are worshipping everyone, and Shiva is where your battery is really coming from. You get energized that day. So day for actually being secluded, I will say you should take a day off from your work on that day. Get this puja done, or Tithi Pravesha puja with Rudrabhisheka and all done, and do japa, energize your batteries so that you are strong enough for the coming year. This is the sure short remedy for many ills. It will take care of many problems. Okay. Now one will say, isn't there any importance for nakshatra? Yes, nakshatra is also important. Typically in South India we do something called Ayush Homam. Okay, the word Ayush is longevity, and I've said in the last time around that is really coming from the nakshatra, Vayu Tattva. Nakshatra is governing the Vayu Tattva. Nakshatra is not governing Vayu Tattva. Nakshatra is related to the Vayu Tattva. Okay, and hence when you're talking about Ayush, it would be better to do on the day of the nakshatra. So he was born on Ashlesha Nakshatra. So in 1892, this was happening on Pushya Nakshatra. So the next day, probably 17th, so after sunrise maybe, or maybe even the next day, because typically we would want the sunrise to be energized by the nakshatra. So whatever it is, when the Ashlesha Nakshatra comes, that is when he should be doing the Ayush Homam. That is my suggestion, because that's how we have seen that done traditionally in South India. Okay, but Tithi Pravesha is exactly done as per the day of the Tithi, not the nakshatra. Nakshatras can change. Okay, so this is a very interesting thing. So now you can just go to deva.guru or any other panchanga that you are using. There is Drig Panchang also, which is freely available, right? And just see when sun is coming to that exact same month, okay, that particular sign, and that exact Tithi is coming in, that is when your birthday is coming. Okay. I'll have another short video explaining some interesting thing about Tithi Praveshas, and how we can try and learn a little bit more about the coming year from that. Tithi Pravesha is a very vast subject, but I'll just say one important interesting thing which I observed, and Mahatma Gandhi is a very fine example to explain that. Thank you so much. Namaskar.